Hi everybody, welcome to my video journal for Tuesday, July 17th, 2018. My name is Mike Zornick, and this is a video journal. So today I'm recording my video journal from my co-working space, Indy Hall, and journaling is just something I want to try to get back into, so we're just going to go at it today. And the topic of the day is actually going to be Twitter. So I've actually been a very early user of Twitter. I joined around January 2007. I have a user ID that's under 1 million. And when I first started using it, it was primarily because a lot of my friends who I chatted with in IRC had started to use it. The Icon Factory had started working on the Macintosh application Twitterrific, and it was this desktop app that basically made it a lot easier to kind of interact with Twitter. Historically, you kind of had to go to the website or use the SMS, and I wasn't really into that. But once it actually lived on my Macintosh desktop, it was pretty easy to use, and so we used it, and it was nice. It was kind of like a lot smaller in the community. I mean, because you only followed kind of a dozen people, they actually made it a point to actually play a sound when a new tweet came in, which if you think about like doing something like that today, it would be insane. But about 6 months ago, I started to kind of take myself away from Twitter a little bit. I removed the tweet bot from my Macintosh desktop, and I did leave Twitter on my iPad and iPhone, but I limited the iPad to pretty much just like my couch reading time, which was pretty much only like 1 day a week. And even my phone, I very rarely actually loaded Twitter, only when I was extremely bored at like a grocery store or something. Or I remember loading it a lot when I was out in California for WWDC, because people were using it to actively, connect with each other and, find each other, in the physical world. So I pulled back from Twitter and I started to embrace more open web things like my own website, things like the microblog site that Manton had started to run. And I did this for a lot of reasons. First of all, Twitter over the past couple of years has become very negative, for lack of a better term, with its developers. It limits API usage. It starts to add features that are only available to themselves. It added this developer cap, which basically lets you, have an API key, but then you can only do so many requests or something of that nature. So I was disappointed with how they were treating developers. I was also disappointed that, particularly like over the last year, there had been a lot of misuse of Twitter in the form of hate speech and other things that they don't seem really interested in curtailing at all. The amount of fake accounts that gets generated versus how fast they can actually pull them down, it's a losing battle for them, and they're not really working that hard to kind of adjust it. And so, knowing all these things that I disliked about the platform, I felt like, if I post on Twitter and, I'm adding value to their network, I'm kind of approving of their behavior, and I wasn't really like that. And so I wanted to kind of move away and do something else. So it's been about 6 months since I've done this, and how's it going? Overall, I think it's gone fairly well. I post to my blog a little bit more often than I used to, which is always good. And I've definitely participated in the Micro.blog network. I follow a handful of people there, but it's much, much less than Twitter. And the timeline is much more digestible. And so it's been, a pleasure to lose and keep on my desktop without it feeling like a tremendous burden or something that I kind of have to keep up with. Now, if it were just me, I would probably just keep on doing what I'm doing right now. The problem that's kind of facing me is that I've been working on some new projects, some new websites, some new educational content, and as part of this development, I need to market that content. And the thing about marketing is kind of you have to go where the people are. And so I kind of find myself thinking about, well, should I re-engage with Twitter, and what does that mean? And it's been a really tough decision because I have there's a lot of things on my mind about it. But I do think I am going to make this switch and kind of re-engage with Twitter a little bit. I'm still going to use Micro.blog as my main kind of chatty, microblogish style things, but I will start to use Twitter for kind of cross-posting links to the new content and the videos that I keep on thinking about working on, and have a little bit more openness to kind of interact with people. So if I see somebody doing something interesting, not holding myself back from replying to them and starting to engage them a little bit. But I do want to kind of still lean towards my open web alternatives. But it is kind of a tough call because you're working on these new projects and you want them to be successful. To be successful, they need to be marketed and they need to find an audience. And if the audience is on certain platforms that you might not love, Twitter being one that I'm talking about today, of course, another one which will come up will be Facebook, which is interesting because unlike Twitter, which I have a historic, use of, I've never been active on Facebook. And so the idea of going there to kind of help find an audience for these new things was going to be quite interesting. But that'll have to happen another day. If you have any of your own thoughts on the Twitter or the open web, I'd love to hear it. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for watching the journal, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.